Now, question 10, in this case, is an 8-mark question. You will get these, and even though with practice it is quite straightforward to pick up some marks, it is really difficult to understand what the exam board is looking for. So you need to read the question really carefully. So we've got a clothes manufacturer. They've given us some financial information about its four products. The business has fixed costs of £6,000 a month, so it will need to pay this no matter how much it sells. It is reviewing its products range. The table shows an extract from the clothing manufacturer's monthly financial data. That's the situation. Now we've got the word discuss. Now, discuss means the weighing up of possibilities, looking at the pros and cons of different scenarios. So if you say that something is only good, it will be very much one-sided. If you say it's only bad, so you need to look at both sides of what we're going to look at. Now, the first thing is to look at what the words down the side mean. Output is how many they are making. So they're making 120 pairs of trousers, 750 vests, 250 t-shirts, 100 hats. Break-even quantity. They've told us how many of these things they need to break even. They've told us how much the variable cost is per item, how much it sells for, and therefore how much total revenue there is for each product. They've also told us how much the total cost is for each product. Now, there are varying levels of complexity that we can bring into this question, but we're going to start off by thinking, do you know what? Which products make a profit and which make a loss? So if, for instance, we look at our total revenue versus our total cost at the bottom, we can see trousers, £3,000, total cost, £2,700. They make a profit of £300 in a month from selling trousers. We can see vests, they make £750 a month. They make neither a profit nor a loss. They break even on t-shirts, and they actually make a loss of £1,200 on hats. So they are losing more money than they are making. Of course, they would like to change their product range. Now, which products contribute more to paying off the fixed costs than others? Now, we can see the sales price of trousers is £25 and the variable cost is £10. So every time they sell a pair of trousers, they contribute £15 to paying off their fixed costs. Vests, they make a contribution of £3. T-shirts make a contribution of £6, but they don't currently make enough of them. And every time they sell a hat, they have a contribution of £3, but again, they're not selling so many of them. So the question is, what should they do? And on the next slide, I'm going to show you how to write out this answer. You need to have your facts and figures next to you, and we're going to pick up 8 marks. This is a difficult question to answer. On the side is the mark scheme. If you made some valid points but little use of figures, you'd have had probably get a mark. 2 to 3 marks, you'd have made some valid points, you'd have used the figures and you'd have started to explain them. To get 4 to 6, you would have used specialist terms like break-even analysis, margin of safety and contribution. Both sides of your point will be explored and the figures are going to be used with skill. And if you're going to get 7 to 8, your work will be set in context. There'd be skilled use of break-even terms, implications of range decisions fully explained. Now, you don't need to get full marks. If you can get up to 4 or 5 marks, that would be sufficient, probably with really good other questions, to get a distinction or a merit. It is really hard to get full marks. They are difficult questions. I have written up next to you a process that we're going to go through. We're going to look at it, and I've given you an answer which would get into the top bracket. I do not expect you to be able to do this, especially at the moment. We're going to be looking at some other questions later. But however, the way I would have approached this is I would have set the scene. Some students did this quite well, actually. So I'm just stating what the things told me. The business has 4 products. From the figures I can see, they made a total revenue of 10,450. I just added the figures together. I had total costs of 10,600. Again, I added the figures. This means they made a loss. They are reviewing the product range to get into profit. Now, that point, setting the scene, actually goes into 7 to 8. It is work in context. If you had put that in, but still hadn't got the other things, you would have definitely picked up marks. You can see that that would also qualify for valid points made, figures used, starting to explain. So it's a win-win. Point next, we're going to discuss the product range. Okay. Not all of their products are profitable. Loads of you picked up on this. I'm going to use the technical language though, because I'm trying to show off. Trousers have a margin of safety of 20 pairs. They are selling 20 pairs more than they need to break even, and they make a profit of 300. I'm using the figures. Vests have a margin of safety of 250 and give a larger profit of 750, whereas t-shirts just break even and hats make a loss of 1,200. A lot of people got that. Good points, you got marks for that. Now, some people wrote some of the things that we've got here, so I would immediately suggest they stop making everything apart from vests. They make the biggest profit. However, I'm now looking at the other side. When I look in more detail, I can see that each pair of trousers sold gives a contribution, a technical term. Contribution means the selling price is 25, the variable cost is 15. It contributes £15 to paying off the fixed costs, which is much larger than each vest, which is only £3. So if I made more trousers, each pair sold would give a lot more profit to the business. So I'm thinking my initial thought of vests, now I'm thinking trousers. T-shirts makes a contribution of £6, which again is larger than vests. And even hats have a contribution of £3, the same as vests. So actually, if they only made vests, they would not make as much profit. It would be much better if they only made trousers, as each pair will make more profit for the business. So I have looked at my product range in a bit more detail now. I would say I've used my figures with skill. Let's move on. Conclusion. But if I suggest this, and a lot of people said this, a lot of people concluded well, if I suggest this, then I'm assuming they would be able to sell the extra trousers that they're making. If they made more and then couldn't sell them, they'd be in danger of making a loss. The business would need to carry out research in what they could sell before they change their product range. All of their products could potentially make profit, as they all have a positive contribution. So I am talking about my implications at the end. Now, difficult question. Good to go through the answers. We will only improve.